Well, good morning, Chris.
Hey, how are you, Debbie?
Good.
Wow, fancy meeting you here.
Now that we've been yucking it up in the background. Well, good morning to everybody out there. I see Penny is on today. Nice to see you, Penny.
My dog's gone. He's not there. Where's he at? Get up there. Go lay down.
Where's your puppy?
Oh,
Where's
there
your
he is.
classmate there?
No, he went. His head's kind of in the corner. There we go.
Oh, hi, baby.
He's chilling. Anyway, sorry. Let's get back to CloudCMA. Everyone tuned in to see this and not see pictures of my dog.
So today's webcast is being recorded, of course, and usually when I edit the videos, because this kind of stuff's like, okay, this gets edited out. So whenever you watch our videos on YouTube, so please watch the videos on YouTube. We do love the watch hours. We always do cut out the the yucking it up in the front, and sometimes when it takes a minute for pages to load, you don't have to suffer through that when you're watching it on YouTube, because I cut that out. I love it. So today we have Chris Nickson.
Does a great job editing it, and towards the end of the class, I'll show you where to find all our stuff on YouTube and all the other tips and tricks from our homepage at the end. So you got to kind of stick with me to get that information.
Yeah. So today, Chris Nickson is a realtor just like you. He also is wearing his MiRealSource shirt. He's on our golf team, and also on our trainer team. So
I'm the caddy on the golf.
Chris has been a trainer with us for a couple of years now,
yeah,
which is awesome. So he's got Market Stats, CloudCMA, or the CMA class. And he's always there for us when we need, especially we need a golfer on our team. So that's always fun. So I'm going to be in the background today. I will be answering any questions that you might have. So if you have a question and we need to ask Chris to rewind for a second, I'll generally try to pop in and say, hey, Chris, could you repeat that a little bit? So I will make sure to have my questions out here. No questions so far, so we're good. Chris, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. So I'm going to turn off my webcam. Have a great class, and I'll see you in the background.
All right, thank you, Debbie. I'm going to be shutting off my webcam here in a little bit so that we can just focus on the screen, which is right over here. So you'll see my pointer over here. It's the red it's the red thing. So I'm going to shut off my video feed because you don't need to see me. We're just going to focus on the screen. You can follow along if you want. There's a lot of information to try to get out in the next about hour and a half. So I'm going to turn off my video feed. Okay, and now we're just focusing right here over on the Paragon screen. And this is the MiRealSource Paragon homepage. And today we're going to, as Debbie mentioned, we're going to cover CMAs. And there's kind of two ways to do a CMA. There's what we call the quick version through Paragon, and then a longer version through CloudCMA. I do want to start out by saying that do not underestimate the value of providing a CMA to a potential client. Right now, most people can get an abundance of information online through all kinds of websites. There's the Z estimates out there. There's other property information that's always feeding them numbers. The problem with those is they are AI or computer generated. And as so, all they're doing is taking logarithms and they're looking at similar homes and similar properties in similar areas and what they're selling for. However, they are not going inside the home and they are not taking into account certain amenities, fit and finish of the products, how clean the home is, how updated it is, and all the other stuff that goes into kind of the range that we have is good, better, and best, as I like to say when I'm giving a CMA presentation. And so most of those models that are out there that are giving those numbers, they don't have any personality to them. So this is your opportunity as a realtor, that when you're sitting down with that potential client, to get in front of them, to be face to face and demonstrate your worth and your value as a realtor and why they should be using you. So I do spend a lot of time when I do my CMAs. I can bang out a CMA in about an hour and a half to 2 hours if I to do a really nice one. It goes pretty quickly once you get proficient with the system. But the nice thing is when I sit down and talk to my potential clients, I'm giving them something of value and I'm leaving them something of value. I'm just not taking something off a screen that has no personality and trying to go with it. So that's my little pitch about why CMAs are important. I think it's a tool that most realtors do not fully understand how important it is when they're in front of that client. And they just kind of do it really quickly and throw out a number there and they go with that. It's more than just giving the client a number when you're sitting there of the value of their home. In some cases, it's developing that first rapport and that first setting with the client to let them know why they should go with you over somebody else. So with that, I'm going to get going on how we do our CMAs. And usually how the process goes is somebody calls you and either through a referral source, hopefully a referral source, or one of the other ways that you're advertising or marketing, people contact you and say, hey, I would like to talk to you about possibly listing my home. So then, you know, get their address, get all their information. The first thing that I do is I do a tax search on the property. I'll show you how to do that real quickly, because I want to find out who is on the title of that home. In this case, the property we're going to be using today is it's at 15410 Olympic in Macomb Township there. So I start with BS&A online. And just if you haven't had the tax class, we got a class that shows you how to use all this, but we go into Macomb, that's the municipality. You want Macomb Township in Macomb County, obviously not the one in Lenoir. And then we come up here and we enter the address, which is 15410 Olympic. And we select search. Now this will run a quick search and it should generate the property. Here it is right here. The person who called me, whose name was Dawn, so I'm going to select this property. And what you're going to find on this information on BS&A, you're going to find out this is, first off, it's public record data, PRD. It is information anybody can have access to. You can go down to the assessor's office and ask for this information, or as a realtor, you can get it online. So it's not like you're creeping on somebody or this is some sort of highly confidential information. This is all available to the public. So I see right here that the property owner is a single, one name. It's not in a trust. It doesn't have two names or something else similar. The reason I want to check here is because if it is in a trust, that opens up a whole nother set of issues. If you're going to be listing the property, you have to make sure you have certificates of trust and everything else in place. You have to make sure that the people who are signing all the documents are able to sign the documents, et cetera, et cetera. Also, if you see the name of a trust and then a separate individual, that means both people have to be there to sign all your documents. You can't take a listing if with just one party, if there's two parties on the title. So BS&A is where most municipalities, where you can find the tax information on most municipalities, and it'll also tell you who the owners are. In this case, it's only a single person. It's Dawn, so I don't have to worry about anybody else being at the meeting. Just briefly to go over the BS&A form when it comes up, this is where you find out if the property is 100% homesteaded, which you can see that it is. You can see what the SEVs are and all the other tax information. It gives you the square footage, which you're going to need to do the search, and when it was built. If you're in an area that may have a bunch of new construction going on, you want to exclude some of the newer construction. You don't want a home built in 1984, a ranch built in 1984, and you're using a pricing of a ranch that was just built and just sold. Little things like that, you can find all that on this BS&A document. Also check the tax information. I like to check here. Not only does it give you the tax information, but it lets you know if they're behind on their tax payments. If they're substantially behind, maybe they're more motivated to be a seller and everything else like that, or to sell the property. You can see if there's some building department information here, if there's any outstanding permits that haven't been closed. If they took, let's say I had a case where somebody had opened up a deck permit and they never did the final close on that. It still showed it as open. They contacted the city and they just had it all closed out. So their building department was all cleaned out. Was all cleared up. There's a utility bill information. You can look at this. Some municipalities include it on BS&A and others don't. You can see if they're behind or anything else like that. that's the general information you can find here. Mostly what I use it for is right here. I want to make sure who the owners are and get some basic information about the property so I know from which to do my search. So now that I have this BS&A form, sometimes I print this form out and take it with me to the meeting just in case they're asking me, where'd you get that information? I can show it. If there is a conflict, I've had people where I sat down and say our square footage is actually bigger because we put the sunroom on the back. And I will sit there and say, well, did you contact the city to let them know you're building a sunroom on the back of your house? Well, no, we didn't. We didn't pull any permits. So I go, well, I'm not really going to argue the square footage of the home. I leave it up to the municipality. And if the homeowner wants to go down there and try to change that, they can. That's up to them. Most of the time, we just leave it at that when we sell the property. So I have this information, and from that information, I'm now going to do a search to find homes in the area that are similar to this, the comp, so that I can develop my CMA and present it to Dawn at our meeting. It starts with doing your basic search, and it's a residential property. I always, when I do a CMA, I search sold and pendings as well. And again, it's a CMA is not an appraisal. Appraisers typically use closed properties. In a CMA, I like to include the actives and the pending because the actives show them what their competition is going to be. If they have if they're getting ready to list their home, it's going to show them other homes that are in the market that they're going to be competing with. Same with pendings, and certainly closed will tell them what the market is actually doing in the area. So I include all three when I can. I've already done this search, so there's some things I'm going to do a little quicker on just for time's sake here. I already know that within my date range, because I have pendings and closed, I have to select a date range in a search. I'm going back 90 days. You can start out at 30 days or 60 days, and if there's not enough properties showing up, you need between 5 and 7 properties. Usually 3 to 5 closed properties works best. You can change the date range, but again, I've done some of this already, so we can quicken it up. So I'm going to just stay with the 90 days. The above grade square footage, our house was 1,420 square feet. I'm going to do 1,400 to 1,800. I don't know why I did that, but that's what I have in here right now. Again, I'm just trying to get enough properties to show up on the to do the CMA. I would play with that square footage a little bit until I got the right number that I need. So I know these numbers are going to work already. The area that I'm going to search, I like to do a map search. So, the other thing I want to change is the structure style, because I know in this area there are ranches and colonials, and because the house I'm looking at is a ranch, I just want to select a 1-story structure right here. So we're going to make that the ranch. Now with that, we're going to go up and select where we're going to search. I like doing the map search. Just click on the bar. It'll take you to the map search. You enter the address right here, 15410 Olympic. And you have to put in the city. Otherwise, it just, for some reason, it defaults you out into somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. So that's the property. We'll search on that. And then I'm going to go a 3/4 mile radius from the subject property. We'll search that. You'll see the radius. Did it do it? No. Let's go back to map search. Sorry. Search radius. Here it generates the search radius in this blue area. Just a little tip, I know that right here, the property is located in Macomb Township. This is the dividing line for Macomb Township. Even though there are no properties here, because I don't want to bring in stuff that's not in Macomb Township, I would go back to my criteria, and down here under municipality, I will put in Macomb Township. And what that will do now, under the map search, is it'll automatically exclude anything should it have popped up in here that met the criteria. But right now we have 6 properties. So we're going to run the search. And let this do its thing. We have with this property, we have 2 that have closed, and we have 1, 2, 3 that are pending, and 1 that is active. I would like to get some more closed, but for the purposes of the class, I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to go with this so I can move on and show you how to do the CMA. If I didn't like the results that I got here in the search, I could always come back here to the criteria and change one of these numbers to try to get more closed or something similar. I could maybe go out in a bigger radius. I can go back more days or change the square footage or something like that. But again, I have enough right here that I'm comfortable with what I'm going to do for just the CMA. So I'm going to use this data to generate my CMA. As I said, there are 2 CMAs that you can do here. There's one that's a pretty quick CMA. I use this one quite a bit for myself if I just want to see in a neighborhood, if I'm taking, just kind of see how markets are going. I use it with my investors that don't need a full-blown CMA. They just want to see how the neighborhood's doing and things like that, especially a neighborhood around a particular home. It starts off by you select the properties. Now, normally what I would do is I would open up each one of these, look at the photos so I know what the home has. Because oftentimes when I'm called to do a CMA, I don't know what their house looks like inside. I don't know if they've never updated their home, if they just did a whole big, huge update, if they redid their kitchen, their countertops, their floors, or whatnot. So I kind of want to see what the homes look like and take a look at the pictures so that I know what the properties look like when I go and sit down with with my potential client. In my head, I kind of sort things into a good, better, best category, or high, medium, and low price range. And when I look inside, you will see this home looks to be a little bit more updated. Just kind of looking at it, I don't know. So I would just go through all the photos and see what's there so that I know what I'm going to be when I sit down in this other house and I start walking through. Oftentimes it's the first time I'm walking through this new house when I'm presenting a CMA. I have an idea of where I'm going to talk to them about price. So let me go back to our search results. I would take the time and look through each one of these and make sure I kind of know what's there. If I had 8 or 9 properties, I would narrow the list down to 4 or 5 good homes that I would like to use that kind of all indicate, like I say, sticking with that good, better, and best criteria. In this case, we're just going to select them all. So you can select them all individually like this, or just select up here this box, turns them all green. It means they are all checked. So you're going to take the checked properties. You have to select them, otherwise the CMA won't have any information from which to draw its data from. And the quick way to do a CMA is on the far right side of your screen where it says reports. We select reports. Close this. And down here you have this one that says CMA. It has the arrow. You can open it up. There are 3 versions of a CMA: quick view, summary, and spreadsheet. The quick view is just that. It takes all the properties. There are 2 pages. And it just puts them all together right here with kind of a quick bar summary of what's going on. That's the quick view. I've never really used this. I'm just showing you that it's there. The other thing is the CMA spreadsheet. It basically is kind of like our front sheet where it takes the information, puts it in tabular form, and it's right there. I don't use that sheet either. The main sheet that I use is the CMA summary. What this form does is it breaks up your 3 areas, your actives, your sold, and your pendings, and it lists the properties straight across. When there's more than 1 property, it'll show you the average. For the headings that you have up here, if there's more than 2 properties, it'll also include the median value. Okay, the average is when you have 2 properties. If there's only 1 property, obviously it'll just show you the 1 property, but anything over 2 property, it'll also give you this line for median. And it'll take the square footage, like right here, the average sold square footage is 1,500 square foot. You can read across these lines and see where everything is at right here. The nice thing about the CMA summary is these column headings are all customizable. To customize those, you come up here to where it says customize in this light blue toolbar, and we come down to where it says fields. You open up the fields, open up the fields. And now here are all these column headings over here. They appear right here in this table. The only thing that I don't like about this is you can only change one table at a time. You can only change active, sold, or pending. There's no universal change to make all your columns look the same. So you have to do it in essence 3 times if you want all 3 of these little boxes to look the same. So customize fields. We are working in the active. And let's say I wanted to include acreage in here. For some reason, people are looking for properties that aren't a standard subdivision, and they want something 2 acres or more. So I'm going to include acreage in there because that was one of my search criteria, and I want them to see the different property sizes. If there's something that's not here, you can either come up to where it says search and type in acreage, and it would come up. In this case, acreage is the first one. You want to add it over here to this column. You select the box, and you can either click add and it'll bring it in there like that. I'm gonna remove it real quick, or where'd it go? Or double click on the box and it just automatically pulls it into this column. Once it's over here, you can change these around to wherever you would like. So I have the above grade square footage. Year built. I want my acreage to appear right after the zip code. Simply highlight that box, click and drag up, and then release, and it'll stay there. You have to save it. Now I have acreage right now here, but it doesn't appear in sold or the pending columns. So I have to repeat the process for each one. We go to fields, then right here where it says status, you go to the sold one. We want acreage, double click it, it'll just pull it in, and then I move it up. Because I'm OCD, I'll put it right after zip. I want them all look after the zip code. I want them to look the same. You have to save it. Then we go back and we'll do the same thing for pending. Customize, fields. Here's your pending. You gotta select over here, down here to pending. Acreage is there. We can either double click it to move it or select the box and add, and it'll pull it in. Then we put it in the same order. If for some reason you wanted to do multiple things, you can just select multiple boxes and click add, and it'll bring them all over. If you want to deselect something before you bring it over, simply click on it and turn it from green to the white again, and it'll disappear. If there is something over here that you don't want, like I don't want the bathrooms. We'll just take off bathrooms half just to show you. You select the box and hit remove, and it takes it out of here and just puts it back over here into your contents table. You have to save it, and we don't have bathrooms half here. So I am going to take all my charts, customize, make them look the same. Fields, bathrooms half, we're going to remove, and because we're working in the active, we're going to save that. And the last one I have to do is for residential sold, so it all looks the same. Fields, come up here and change the status to sold, get rid of my bathrooms half, select remove, and save that. Now all my charts kind of look the same. So this is the quick version of the CMA. It's the CMA summary report. I use this for a lot of things, mostly a lot of my investors I give this report to. I also use this when I have a buyer that's thinking of writing an offer and they kind of want to know, they would like a little comfort as to where their offer is going to be relative to how the market is doing. I'll do the same process I did before on the subject property, run a quick CMA on it, and I'll take this sheet and I'll say, well, here, here's currently what's on the market in there. Here's what's sold in the area. You can see the sold price per square foot is this. The sold price, the average sold price was this. Here's what they're asking. Do you want to go over or under and all that other stuff? This is a great report to give to your buyers. One other thing I want to point out on this, if you look in the sold tab right here in the middle, I include the column that says concessions amount. So this house right here sold for $300 and they asked $300, one's for $305.5, but there were $6,100 in concessions. So I like to know if you know, that means this true cost wasn't 3055. The seller actually gave up $6,000 in concessions. So you can add that concessions amount the same way we did all these other ones, but I keep that in my sold column so that I can see if we're in a market where a lot of concessions are being given or not. So this is the quick version of the CMA. It's called the CMA Summary Report. After we do our search and we find the properties that we want, we come to the tab on the far right of the screen, the green one, and all the way down to CMA Summary. And that gives you this quick version. It's a one-sheet version. You can save it as a PDF and attach it as an email and send it to your clients, or just print it out and give it to them as well. That's this report. And I like this report. I use it quite a bit when I'm short for time, or I know somebody really well. I don't have to do a full-blown CMA. That's what this report is good for. And also, it's great to use with buyers who are getting ready to write an offer. The other CMA that we can do, we're going to come back here to our default spreadsheet. After we do our search and we've selected the information, now we're going to do a CloudCMA. CloudCMA is it's a service that's provided to you through MiRealSource. CloudCMA is a pretty powerful tool. This makes a great CMA and a presentation form. This is the one that I'll use if I'm going to see that client, the potential client that called me. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make one of these CloudCMAs. And the process that I'm going to walk you guys through here is the same process I use when I get a call. Matter of fact, last week I did this for a home that I had to go and sit down with somebody and give them a CMA. So the process is the same. We run our search. We select our properties that we want to use. We weed out the ones that we need to. Let's say in this case, I don't want to use, I don't know, I'll just select one and pull it out of here. One of the pendings, we'll take this one out. We'll just remove that. We have the ones that we are selective, so that we're going to use. We're going to select check. You see we have 5 properties. You don't lose that from the search, by the way, when you do that. If you want to see all the search properties that came up, you select all, and they will all appear again. The checked ones only show you the ones you want to perform an operation on. So we have the 5 properties we want to use here. So what you do at this time is, now we're going to make a CloudCMA with them. So to do that, up here where it says actions, kind of looks like a little plug. If you select actions, the screen comes up and we're going to CloudCMA. We select CloudCMA. And now we're working in the CloudCMA and it's automatically generating the report for us. The first thing you do is you name it. I always put in the person's name. In this case, it was Don. And if there were any private notes, you would put the private notes in here. Those don't show up on the CMA. They're just reminders for you, so that if you pull this up again, they're just things to jog your memory. Over here is the subject property. We'll enter the property address. And Olympic Drive, Macomb Township, it preloads it. So we're going to select that one. I don't have to type it all out. And it'll also start pulling in some of this information here. The square footage, I'm going to enter off my BS&A. I found the square footage was 1420. I'm going to enter that. Property type is a residential. Property subtype, don't need to worry about that. Advanced info, I'll fill in the advanced info, and this is why I do it. I'll show you, you'll see later on why we fill in this advanced information. It's a 2-car garage. The area is 0.182, and the style is a ranch. This is key. You want to put ranch or colonial or something in there. And right now, I'm going to show you what the report looks without a cover photo, and why you want to, and I'll explain why you want to put in a photo in here later on. But right now, we're going to leave this part as it is for the subject property. Because we did that previous search and we pulled the information in, CloudCMA, you put all 5 of those numbers right here to pull the data into the report. It's automatically done for you. I have never used the quick and dirty. The quick and dirty is the same thing that I talked about at the beginning of the presentation. CloudCMA just goes in and pulls through AI. It takes a look at, and their logarithms, takes a look at properties that may be similar to the one you're listing and puts them in there. It doesn't do any filtering. It really doesn't look at anything. The whole point of me doing a CMA is so that when I sit down in front of my client, I can say, I looked at these properties, here's what I see. And now when I'm sitting in their home, I can have a better conversation with them to help demonstrate my worth as a trusted real estate advisor. I don't use this. Actually, I don't care for it. I've tried it a couple times. I'm at home just seeing how it works. And this is where if you might have some new homes that were built there that might be priced significantly higher than what a 20-year-old home is going for. And it pulls in all that stuff. That's why I don't use it. So I stick with the exact listings right here. So we have the name of the report. We have the subject property information filled out. And we have the listings we want to use. On all these pages, you will either see there's always a tab at the bottom that tells you your next step, or up here in the upper right corner. Either one you select takes you to the next part of the report. We're going to fetch the listings. So what it will do is CloudCMA goes in and pulls up all the information on the reports. Now, if you recall when I talked to you about the CMA summary, the one thing I don't like about the CMA summary is it doesn't compare anything back to the subject property. In this case, our property at 15410 Olympic Drive. Everything that you're going to find in the CMA summary report that we just did, that quick one as we like to call it, are just at what's currently available on the market, and there's no really comparison back to their home property for them. This report will help you do that. We'll give you that comparison of their property, which after all is why you're there, is to present the CMA and show them how what's on the market compares to theirs. You could, if you want to, set in a price here, and you can generate a net seller sheet if you want. I know some brokers require that you have to have an estimated net seller sheet that your client has to sign off on. It all depends when you want to give it to them. If you want to give it to them during the CMA or at some other time, if you that's up to you and your broker and however you do your own business. If you want to include that sheet as part of the CMA, you can load it as a page and say, hey, at some point we're going to have you sign this. My personal view is I do not put a price in my CMA. I do not, because in the beginning of my career, I used to put prices in there, and sometimes I lost listings because I had a price in here, not seeing the house, walked in the house. The person I was talking to already had in their mind the value that they felt their house was worth. I was lower than what they were, so my whole presentation was me trying to talk up my number to get to where they were at. They already had it in black and white. They went with the realtor that walked in there and said, oh yeah, we can get that number for your house. So two things. One, I never give them a hard price. Two, I let them determine the price. And when I'm having that conversation with them around pricing, I always talk in a range. And I know the range to talk in because in the beginning I did my homework and I looked at that good, better, and best. And when I'm walking through their home, if I see the carpet's a little dirty and outdated, the kitchen hasn't been updated, maybe they have wallpaper that's peeling down, I'm going to classify them at the good range, and they're going to be in the lower price point in the neighborhood. So I don't put in a price, but if you want to, I'm just showing you where this is and how you can, include that in your CMA if that's the way you choose to do your practice as a realtor. The other thing down below is on the listing page is you have all the properties. They got the closed first, the pendings, and then the actives. You can rearrange the order if you want. I like to do my actives first to show them again what their competition is. You simply take this area, click on it, and drag, and you can move them in the order you want. I'm going to put my two closed at the bottom. Simply click and drag, and there you go. Yep, everything's the way I want. Another feature that you have here, if you want to do it, is this notes and adjustments. This is a feature that I don't do much with. When it comes, if you wanted to add in a note, you could here. If you want to make an adjustment, you can make an adjustment. I know some realtors like to adjust for a finished basement or a pool in the backyard or a 3-car garage versus a 2-car garage to make it more in alignment for how an actual appraisal is. That's fine if you want to do that. I don't choose to do that because I don't want to get all caught up in all those numbers. Again, I'm coming in with a range of where I feel the home should be. But if you wanted to make adjustments to what the price is that they're seeing for this property, this 323,800, let's say for example, they had a pool, and you know, a pool would get you, you know, if you want to put an ad in for a pool or deduct for a pool, you just type in pool or whatever you want to call it, and then come over here. And if it's a minus, and you say pool actually hurts you, you would say minus 10,000 because they got $10,000 more because they had a pool. Had that pool not been there, that house would have been $10,000 less. So you can make that adjustment. And as you can see, we started at 323,800. We select save. Now that property is now going to adjust itself to 313,800, which will change all the information over here on the summary of the listings. Making adjustments is not something I do. I don't get into it. I'm not a builder. I don't know those numbers. The numbers are always changing as far as building material costs and evaluations and everything. I choose to leave the properties. I take them just at face value. If I have 7 or 8 properties and one has a pool, I'm not going to include that one with the pool in it if I have other comparable properties that I can use that don't have a pool or an exterior sauna or some other amenity in there that's going to kind of skew off everything. I'm just showing you how you can make adjustments if you want to. If you don't want the adjustment, select the garbage can and it'll get rid of it. Now we're back to the 323,800. Get rid of that. So you have all your properties. Now we want to start customizing the report. As I mentioned earlier, at the bottom of the page or up here, we have the customized report. So we just select customize report and it's going to start generating the report for you. This is the power of CloudCMA right here, is this whole page, this customized report here. One other thing, if you want to go back, all you have to do is anything that's in green, you can click on these and it'll just take you back. Let's say you want to go back to the listings and add a listing or delete a listing. Once you get into your report, just simply select this green listing part here. It takes us back to the listing page. You can either select the customized report here or just go to customize report right next to listing. Takes you back to the same page we were at. So here's your CMA report. This is what it's going to look like. This is the whole guts of the report. This is where your value is really going to shine. Right here is your table of contents. These below here, the power packages and the Tom Ferry pages, this is all information you can add to your CMA if you want, but they cost, you have to get a premium, you have to pay a premium subscription to CloudCMA to get it. I've generated some amazing CMAs without using any of these premium packages. This is everything that you get as a member of MiRealSource, which is more than enough to create any kind of report that you want to, I feel. So we're going to come over here and each one of these have drop downs sections, and I'll get to that more in detail in a minute. Over here where it says your CMA report, you have 5 options. You have the theme, where here is your color selection. If you work for a realtor that has a particular color and you want to stick with that color, you can. They have what they call the modern colors and the classic colors. There is a little bit of difference if you select a modern color or classic color, how the report will look, and some of the options available to you. I suggest you just play around with them and see which ones you like to use. Right now I'm using modern, vivid blue and gray. But what's nice about this is you can change these at any time, and it just goes through and edits your report. You don't have to redo the report all the way through. So I'm going to pick, there's the one, modern, blue and green. You can see this is kind of ugly, but I'll show you how easy it is to change later on. You select choose the theme, and now what that will do is it will change all the pages and the way that are pre-formatted with color, that's the color that it's going to be. I'll just show you what the title page looks like real quick. Here's the
And
title page.
don't forget on those, the classic ones, that has the QR code if you want to go old school.
Okay, if you select, as Debbie said, if you select one of the classic colors, it gives you the QR in the corner that people can use. Here's the modern blue and green. If you like that big green stripe on stuff, that's fine. Let's say you're kind of new to this and you don't know all the colors. If you happen to be a wine drinker, you can go to Modern Cabernet, select the theme, you apply the theme, and that'll be it. So we have Modern Cabernet, and the title page will look more like this right here. Everything's in Cabernet, and it's got this little dark stripe here, and that's what it'll look like. So we're going to leave that theme for right now. The other option that you have is the layout. You have photo with a map, 2 photos. I'll explain all these to you. The photo with a map I don't typically use if I'm using a subdivision where they're all kind of together, because everybody, the streets are all right there. The only time I might use a photo with the map is if I'm in a more rural area and properties are spread out and they may not quite know where the home is, I'll use that. But in a general sub where the homes are within a few blocks of each other, I don't use photo with the map. For right now, I'm going to select 2 photos. And I'll explain to you how that one works, and I want you to see why I don't typically use it. The template we're going to leave go right now. The cover. I'm not selecting a cover because these are all the Power Pack coverages that you have to pay for. So right now I'm going to leave it as no cover. And then the font. This is really nice. You can select whatever font you want. And what this is going to do for these fonts is on a lot of the pages where there's pre-formatted information, it's going to change the font to match these. The nice thing is if you select one and you're newer to this and you start going through your CMA and you take a look at it right before you publish it, before you send it out, you don't like it, all you have to do is come back and change the font, and you don't have to completely redo the report. It just changes the font universally throughout. So right now we're going to select Railway just because, to show you how it is. Once all that is done, below all of this is everything that's going to be in your report. This is the basic default template that we use that comes out. There are some things I already know that I'm going to dump out of here. I'm just going to show you what some of them are. I highly suggest you go through them. If you're a newer agent and you're looking for content when you're talking to your clients, you can find some good information that you can use in here. If you're a more seasoned agent and you've been doing it a while and you just kind of want to freshen up your presentation, maybe there's some information in here that when you read through, you can pull out and incorporate. The other nice thing that I like about CloudCMA, and I'm going to show you how to do that, you can add custom pages to this as well. So if you have a blurb, a short little write-up about your marketing plan that you use and you want to include it as part of the CMA, instead of having a separate marketing plan when you present to them, you can include all that information here with this one CMA, and I'll show you how to get to that, how to add custom information. Most of these pages are pre-formatted. One of the pages I like is what's a CMA. I'll just click on that. And as you can see, it tells them what a CMA is, how accurate they are. It's a 1-page, quick little summary. It's the colors are what we selected. If I selected a different color where it's this Cabernet color would be different. And we have that rollaway font, so the W's are kind of, crossed over like that. What else is nice is on all the pages, you're going to come branded down here in the corner. Your photo, if you have one loaded, your name, how it appears on CMA, and your other information. So that's pretty nice. That's what that page looks like. Down here, you have a whole bunch of other pages you can look at. If you want to talk about commission distribution, if you're struggling with that and don't know how to explain it, there's a good little chart right here. This is a pre-formatted page. Some things on showing your home, staging your home, these are all in here. You can include these pages or not. I want to go back to intelligent pricing and timing. I like this page here. Sometimes you can include this, has a nice little graph, tells you why we should do it and when we should do it. But you know what? I'm finding this Cabernet kind of hard to look at when it doesn't pop out enough. It blends in too much with the page. And I don't like this rollway. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the top. We're going to change the theme. We're going to go to a modern vivid blue and gray. Let's see how that looks. And we're also going to modern blue and gray. I forgot to save the modern vivid blue and gray, choose the theme. And I'm also going to change the font really quick in the font. And we're going to go to, let's just go to Roboto. So I'll go back down to that same page, which was intelligent pricing and timing. See the difference now in that vivid blue, the writing's a little different. So that's how quickly you can go through and universally change everything in here. With that, we're going to set up the CMA. You have all these pages. Now, I know a lot of them already. I'm just going to get rid of. If you don't want a page, all you have to simply do is right here, when you hover over this title bar, if you look to the left, you have a minus. Just click on the minus and it pulls these pages out of your report. I'm just going to get rid of a lot of this stuff just to show you how to make a quicker CMA here. You can put in your marketing action plan. Anything that says edit next to it are pages that if you open them up, you have the ability to edit that page or add something in here. So if you have, here's a marketing agent plan. Oh, for some reason, under marketing agent plan, I have this that pulls up. I don't know why. I got to change that. I do the class. I get a lot of this where I change all my pages, but I don't want to include that anyway, so you can just get rid of it. This page, what's in the CMA, our company, if you want to put stuff in there, you can. If you want to include your agent resume, you can. If you don't want it to come out in the fonts that you have saved and you want to save it differently, you can create your resume in a separate Word document and bring it in here. I'll show you how to load that. If you have a cover letter, you can add all that. I'm getting rid of all this for a reason. So there you go. This is kind of where I start my report at because I've been doing it for a while here. There are a couple of custom pages that I always include in my report. One of the things I do when I go to sit down with a client to present the CMA is I take a look at third-party homes and what they're selling for online, because I'm fairly confident most of the people before I sit down with them have already looked at Zillow or somebody else and seen what their home is listed at. I don't have a fear of Zillow. I know they're going to look at it, and if I feel the home is going to be higher than what Zillow's going for, I certainly want to encourage them to, you know, explain to them why me as a professional realtor and saying Zillow may be incorrect. So that's a page I like to include in my CMA. I also go into market stats and I load what the current market stats are doing in the area. For in this case, Macomb Township, because when I sit down with them, I want to show them how things are going in their local area. Those are custom pages that I load in. To load in a custom page, you go up to where your face is in the corner. If you haven't uploaded a photo, I think it's just a circle with your initials in it. And this right down here is custom pages. And there are two kinds of custom pages. There are pages you create or Word documents, which are all these right here. And these are the custom PDF pages that you load in. Now, I have this standing one called your CMA search criteria. Basically, I create a quick page that said, I already did this for you guys, so I don't have to type it out now. Their name, I ran a search, and I tell them a little bit about what I searched for, ranch style homes, all this other stuff. 1 active, 1 pending, and 3 have closed. This changed from this morning when I did this. I don't know what happened, but I'm not going to edit this page right now. The reason I include this page, because we have 2 closed now and 2 pendings, but whatever. The reason I include this page is for this note down below. I make sure that I stress this to them, that this analysis is based on market activity at the time the CMA was prepared, and market conditions are always changing. So if I give this to you today and you finally list your home 60 or 90 days from now, we need to revisit our conversation. And the other thing is I tell them that this is a CMA and it is not an appraisal. I let them know this is not an appraisal. I let them know You could put in here that you feel the homes are selling for in a range or whatever you want. You can make this say whatever you want. All I did was list the range and the prices the homes are for right now, their list price in this report. Again, I don't give them anything hard in writing onto a price or a price range. I want to get in the home first, and I want to have that conversation with them and see where they're feeling what they want for their home. There's nothing worse than, you're in a $380,000 neighborhood, and you sit down with somebody and you get to the price number and they go, I want 410. That's what I need to get out of the house because I owe too much. That's what I feel it's worth. And you're telling them 380, 395, and they're already at 410. They're pretty adamant about it. You cannot walk back once you put it in writing and they see it. So I don't include that. You can in here if you want to. So this is one of the custom pages I have. The other one are custom PDFs. Now the problem with custom PDFs is once you load them, they stay in here. So you start accumulating a lot of them. As you can see, I've already loaded up. Let me get down here. Here's the Zillow that I had for Olympic. What I do is I take a screenshot of the Zillow and save it as a page. I'm going to include this in my report. I'll show you how easy it is to upload a PDF. The only problem with uploading a PDF, you have to come all the way through them all to get down to the bottom of the page where it says upload PDF. I told you that I have the market stats for March for Macomb Township. They are saved on my laptop already, so I did that earlier. We select upload PDF. Then I come up here. I already have it in the folder. It would have been on my desktop, and it's market stats for Macomb Township for March. And simply all you do is click open and it creates that page for you now right down here. There's that page. So these are the custom pages you can pull into your report. So now we're going to go back to my CMAs. I have all my custom pages in here the way I want. Now we're coming back to our CMAs where we started. Here's Dawn's. Here's the one we started. Well, we're going to edit it. So all you select is edit. And we don't have to go to update listings. All we want to do is go back to customize, select here. It'll take us back to customize. And I want to add in my custom pages. Remember I said we saved them. Now I want to add them in the report. You select custom pages. Here are all your custom pages right here. And I want your CMA criteria, which was the one that letter I showed you. We're going to add that. I want to add the Zillow one for her, 15410 Zillow, and the market stats for March. Just select the plus and you add it. They appear down here at the bottom. I want to edit their arrangement. I want your CMA search criteria explained all the way up at the top. So I'm going to move that all the way up. Excuse me, the screen is jumping. I like to put it right behind what is a CMA. I don't want our company, agent resume, cover letter. Map of all the listings, summary of comparable properties. This is all looking pretty good. Macomb stats, market stats, I leave at the end of the report. Or in this case, I want to move it up to the middle. I want to talk to them before we get to pricing about how things are going in Macomb Township. So we're going to put it right here after what I searched for. The contact me, I personally like at the end of my reports as the last page. It's easy to find, so I move it down here. All these I don't want. These pages I don't want. I'm getting rid of them. So, and anything I get rid of is it's just over here. You'll see those pages all popping up in here as I get rid of them. Because I want to shorten up this report, and I don't need a page on commission distribution, why you need a real estate professional. But these are all good pages you can read through to get information for your presentation when you're talking to clients. So you can include client testimonials if you want, your marketing action plan, time to sell, we don't need, seller's net, suggested list price, I don't do anything right, with sold property analysis. This looks pretty good. There is one other page I want to add, and it's called the analyst page. And it's called the online value analysis page right here. It's under analysis. We're going to add that to the report. Fortunately, it's going to drop down here, right here. I want to show you why I like this report. if it loads correctly. First off, it comes from Zillow. So Zillow provides the information to CloudCMA. And as you can see, on the date it was sold, the sold price was $290, and the Zillow estimated the price at $290,300. And this property sold for $305,500, and Zillow was saying that it was $308,400. So already you can see that Zillow's a little bit high on what they're saying the prices are worth. So if they've looked at it, in some cases this is glaring. I've seen it in some cases where Zillow's been off by $10,000 or $15,000. So if they've already looked at the Zillow estimate, but the market is selling below Zillow, I'm going to show them this and point out that this information comes from Zillow. It's not from me. On average, Zillow is $2,900 too high right now. That's what this report is saying. So I include this page. I like to include this page in my report for that very reason. It makes it easier for me to discuss the issue of Zillow. And because it's the online value analysis, I put their little home right there. The Zillow page that I created, here's where I took the screenshot of Zillow, and they're saying the properties were $289,000. So let's say we're happy with this is where we want to get our report to go to. Now I'm gonna walk you through the report as it is now, and then show you how to clean it up even further and why, but I'm just showing you the basics. The next thing you need to do is save your template. Otherwise, if you publish the report or come back to it, what'll end up happening is all those pages we took out won't be there, and everything else you have to recreate the report. We don't want to do that. We're just going to name it what I just name it as their last name. Last name CMA, and select save. Now we're going to publish this report so we can see what it looks like. We're going to publish it. It's doing its thing over here. It's thinking, that's why that's spinning. And once it loads up, we'll be able to look at it. Well, it's taking a while to load. I hope my computers are PSNA. We can view the PDF. And this is what the report would look like if we were going to send it right away to your client. It loads up. And right now we have 29 pages. That's a lot of pages. Remember when I said if we don't load up a photo of the home, it gives you this it gives you a photo. It does on your comparative market analysis, which you can change this title, by the way. I call mine comparative market analysis. You can change whatever you want to appear up here. The property shows up. Remember we named it Don Plotsky, so that's the name that appears here, my picture and everything else. One thing that I do want to caution you is the date is the date you generate the report. So if I prepare all this 2 days ahead of time and generate the report, it's going to show April 12th. I don't like this photo here, and I'll show you how I correct that. I just want to show you what it would look like without it. It always has this like purple starry thing, and it's always hard to find the property. Here's what is a CMA, that one page that I told you about. Here's my criteria explain page right here. Here's the local market updates. Now, map of the comparable listings. I put them in the order, and as you can see, the nice thing with this CloudCMA that you don't get off that quick summary is we get the purple house right here, which shows them what their property is. Actives are green, pendings are orange, and reds are sold. So they can see right here, and because they're so close, this is why I don't want to use the one with the map associated with the property. Here's some more reports that are generated. It does give you a listing tab page. So now this will be all the information about the listings. Now, if you remember in the beginning, I selected the report with 2 photos. The reason why I don't use this is because almost all the real estate photos are always loaded with the primary photo and another photo next to it. And the thing that comes up is you end up with 2 photos of the same thing next to each other. And the other thing I don't like is it shows you the photos of the inside, and you have to add in the additional photos. And I'm going to jump back and do that real quickly. But the problem with just one page of photos is because we load our photos in a sequential order, you're not seeing any more of the house. So I already know I don't like the way this looks. So we're just going to get out of this. We're going to go back to our back to our CMAs. We're going to go to the Plotsky one and we're going to hit edit it. And I want to just go over here. Two things I want to do. One, I want to add a cover photo. Now, what I do when I go to BSNA, if you remember in BSNA, when we were there, they had that photo up there in the corner. I use that photo. There's also times if I see like this photo has dead trees because it was taken at the time of the year when they hadn't budded. If I'm in the middle of spring, I may drive by the home so I can get a feel for the neighborhood. And if I don't have to do if my CMA appointment's not for a couple days, I'll upload that photo in itself. But right now I have the photo I cropped off of when we were in BSNA. So I'm going to add that photo. I don't need to crop it. We're just going to hit crop. And there it is. You have to hit update listings to save that. It'll save that photo. Once that's done, there we go. And we're going to go right back to customize. I'm just going to briefly go over, remember, we had two photo layouts, photo with max data. Sorry. Down here under the listing, let's say you wanted to add more photos. You come over here under the listing subject, more photos, all the rest, and it'll drop in all the photos. I didn't like the two photos. We're going to go with photo with max data. We're going to save this template again. Save it. And now we're going to publish the report real quickly. We're getting there. We're almost getting to a report that I would actually send out under CloudCMA to my clients. Why this is loading, one other thing I'll tell you, I actually, when I get this report ready to go to my clients, I allow enough time that I can go to any office supply store that's near me, and I get it printed on heavier weight paper. Yes, it's going to cost me about $15 to print out a report. I get it printed on heavier weight paper because I'm getting it printed in color on two sides. I'm getting it spiral bound or some sort of bounding with a black backing and a clear front cover, and it just makes it look that much more professional when I walk in there and I hand them this sort of report. So I allow about an hour and a half or 2 hours, make sure my report is done so I can get to the office supply store and have them printed out to me. I figure a $15 investment is worth my investment when I'm going to go pitch somebody on a $300,000 or $400,000 home. I also take with me, if my office doesn't have a packet pre-printed out for me, then I pre-print out my own listing packet. The point of going to give somebody a CMA presentation is to try to get that listing. And if at some point during that CMA presentation I feel they're ready to list, I don't want to come back to them the next day with some documents to sign and give them an opportunity to change their mind. I'm going to at least get them to sign the listing agreement and a couple other things. I can always come back and take the photos and measurements and all that other stuff, but I at least want to get the listing process started and get them to sign that. Yes, there are times when I sit down with the CMA and my marketing material and I don't necessarily get it at that time, or I don't get it at all, and it's kind of a waste of paper. But I would sooner waste a few sheets of paper and be prepared when I'm in there, that if someone says, hey, I like this, when can we sign up? And I'm like, I'm ready to list your home now, sign these few papers and away we go. So those are just two little things I do on my own. So let's go ahead and view this PDF that we just generated in CloudCMA. Last one was 29 pages, if you recall, which was long, and I'll explain to you why I don't like that myself. This one's taking longer to load up, which means it's going to be even bigger, and it's loading right now. This one is 37 pages. Now, if you recall on that last one, the cover photo was that like blob overhead view and that purplish greenish tone with that purple square in the middle. This is how much nicer that report looks just by putting that photo in there, okay? In another couple of months, when all these trees are budded up, I may, and and the sun's right, I may go by and snap a more recent photo of the house. But here we go. We're just gonna cruise through all this stuff and get down here to where the photos are. And remember, on the photo portion, I got rid of the second photo and I went with max data. So you have the home and the max data. And now we have all the rest of the photos. You remember we had the first page. Now we have all these pages of every photo in the house. It's taking a while to load them all up. You can see all that. Looks like it had the finished basement. Here's this home. It's vacant, but you got all the photos in that home. Same with this one. Now, having showed you all of this stuff, I never use this. And what I found in my experience over the years, yours can be different. You could be getting different advice. That's fine. This is just how I do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. What I start seeing people doing is they start looking at the house and comparing their, little things that really, as we know as realtors, don't matter to the sell of the home. For instance, oh, what kind of coffee table is that? Hey, we have I like that plant stand in the back. Oh, I like how they did these mirrors over here. I kind of like these plants. None of that affects the price of the home. And what you're doing now is you're wasting your time during the CMA presentation, basically being an interior designer. And I also don't want them saying, well, we have stone around our fireplace and this marble makes it look dated, or if they're looking at a kitchen photo, it's going to load up. If they're looking at a kitchen photo, they're like, why would they put in white cabinets? So, oak cabinets are the way to go. Well, that's your personal preference. And as we all know, if you sold enough homes, one people will love an oak cabinet and one people will love a white cabinet. You don't know. The reason I don't like including all the photos in there is I don't want to start getting into those individual discussions and getting lost, so-called in the weeds, over things that don't matter for selling their home. Because in general, the market's going to say, if the kitchen's updated, here's what you're going to get. If it's not updated, here's what you're going to get. So we'll go back to the edit parts. We're going to go back to the CMAs, and we're going to get into how I really generate a report. I was just trying to show you some of the tools that are available to you through CloudCMA. I don't also like a 39-page report because they will lose interest in a 39-page report. So we come back up here to customize. What I'm going to do first off is I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to go right here where we have our layout. You have 2, 3, and 4 column comparisons. They are just what they say. 2 column comparison shows 2 properties next to each other on the same page, but they don't show all those photos. 3 column comparisons aren't bad. What it does, it'll show 3 properties next to each other. It'll just give you the 3 properties. I'll show you what it looks like really quickly. Just so we can see. I'm not gonna belabor this this one too long because there's some other things I want to get to before we wind this up. Here's the PDF. It loaded quicker because there are less pages. And we're down to 17 pages. And here are the 3 properties next to each other. It just has the active, the pending, the sold. They appear in the order that they went. You see it appears in the order in which we set them up in the beginning. And that's all you're seeing. You're seeing the big cover photo of it. Now we're not having the discussion about what the insides look like and all that other stuff. You can say, well, that one, when I looked at the photos, had a finished basement. You didn't have a finished basement, et cetera, et cetera. You know kind of what these properties have because you've done your homework and your due diligence. But this isn't bad. It's reduced your report. It gives them a 17-page report so you can have a quicker discussion and discuss numbers and try to get that listing quicker. There's still one thing that is missing from this report that I've talked about the power of CloudCMA, which is comparing it back to the subject property. So to do that, the one that you want to select, we're going to go back to CMAs. And again, if you're missing any of this stuff and I'm going too fast, Debbie's going to edit all this down, go find the video, and you can just skip through all the stuff that you already know or you're familiar with and just find the part that you want to revisit again. We go to edit. Here's the report I like. Select customize. And it's the 4 column comparison one. We just leave it at 4 column comparison. We hit publish report. And I'm waiting for it to load. It's loading right here. It's publishing. We're going to view the PDF. Everything stays the same. The only thing that changed is down here, the reports. And here we go. You have your subject property. And remember in the beginning when we filled out that lot size, lot size and the square footage and all that information. Oh, I forgot to fill in the bedrooms. This has 3 bedrooms. Baths, garage, all that acreage. What it does is it compares them across properties like this. And on every page, if you had 3 or 4 pages of comparables, your subject property would always be the first one. I see there's an error here that in the number of bedrooms. I don't want to distribute a report that has an error. So it's very simple to fix. We come back up here, back to CMAs. We're going to edit this one. This time we come down here to advanced info. Oh, bedrooms right here, 3. Make that 3 bedrooms. Everything else is the same. One other thing in the customized report, I don't like these listing chapters. They're just blank pages that in a, I don't tab my pages in the CMA, so I'm going to get rid of them. And the analysis chapter and the closing chapter. Price per square foot. So this is kind of how a report would look. I'm going to save that as my Plotsky CMA. Save that. This would be something I'm going to publish, and this is something I would send out actually to my potential client or bring with me. This is what I'm going to take to get printed. We'll see how many pages it was. I think the last one was 17. We are now at 14 pages. It's quick and easy. It's got my what's the CMA. It's got my criteria in there. It's got, I can talk to them a little bit about what's going on. If you don't know how to get this yourself, you take the market stats class. We explained that in there. It has the map of the properties, the summary of the property. So it gives you a nice little summary right here of everything that's going on. The comparable properties like we just talked about, with the subject property being on the far left. Comparable property statistics, I left this page in, you don't need to. The online value analysis, this is the one that's powered by Zillow. That's why I like to keep it here. Zillow shot, screenshot. Sold property analysis, this tells you the 2 that have sold, how long they've been on the market and everything else. If you don't like the information in here and don't want to include it in the report, you could delete this page. I'm not going to delete any more pages, I'm just leaving it. It gives you an average price per square foot thing. I mean, you can figure out all these pages, then last page is contact me. This is what I would save to a flash drive, go to my office store. I get it on, I think it's 30 or 32 pound paper, so it prints up nicely. It's very thick. It holds the color well on both sides. I get it bound, and this is what I'm going to leave with the client, potential client. Once it's done, you have a couple of things that you can do with that report. Obviously, you can view it as a PDF, which we already saw. You can view it live. Live became real popular during the lockdown when we couldn't meet with people. You can actually send this to them, and you can do a live presentation and walk through this and take your client through it live where they open it up, and it's kind of an interactive presentation. I suggest before you start using it live that you practice a couple of times on yourself so you're familiar with how all these tabs work. I don't really use live. I used it a little bit in the beginning. I prefer to be face-to-face where I can with somebody. But it's there. It's a great tool. Practice using it. The other thing that you can do is you can email the report, copy the PDF link, or copy the live link. If you just select here, you got these links that you can put into an email and send to them, your client. We're going to go back to the CMAs. Here is the one I was working on. If you notice up in the corner, we have the 3 dots. If you select the 3 dots, you can also view it as a slideshow. Slideshow is a little different than live. Slideshow works well if you can get your client to come into your office and your office has a conference room with a big screen TV or something similar where you can, wirelessly connect your computer to it. And if you want to walk them through and say, hey, come here, sit down, I want to do this presentation, you can do it in a presentation format. Kind of your remote is down here in the lower right. Just move your mouse over it and it takes you where it needs to go. And you just walk them through your presentation. Anywhere there's an arrow that darkens up, that means if you click on it, it takes you to that little tab area. Here are the sold homes. It's hard to see on this one. Where'd it go? Yeah. Keep going, keep going. If you go down, It'll bring up all the photos for the property, and they can walk through the photos in this presentation format. That is called the slideshow one. I've used it a couple of times. It's been okay. The majority of my CMAs I take to my client's house. I always go in with a listing packet, and I sit down and I give them the information, you know, and we go over it, we discuss it with the hope of getting a listing. So that's some things through CloudCMA that you can do on the listing presentation side. Real quickly, why I have a few minutes here. There's also stuff you can do in CloudCMA if you're doing buyer tours. And I'm not going to get into it too much. But basically, it would be the same process. You select the homes that they want to see, and you would come up here and you select a CMA buyer tour. And if you do that on the 4 homes, I did not edit this because I'm not going to redo it for a buyer's tour. It's going to be the similar process where it walks everything through. And you can select the viewing times, and then you create the tour, and then it'll load all those homes up for you, and you can send this to your client, and they can have some pre-information on it. Gives them a little map and a route of where they're going to be and when they have to be there. It's a really, really good format if you're working with buyers and you just want to up your game a little bit more instead of saying, yeah, I got these 4 homes scheduled. We're going to go here, here, and here. You can get them all this information electronically. I suggest you go to it and play through it, play with it a little bit and go through it. The other thing that CloudCMA offers, which I use sometimes, is you can do a flyer. And so I was doing, here's one that I did for an open house. I think it still might show up. For a client of mine, these are all preloaded. I jammed in a picture. It took the information that I had in the agent remarks, loaded it here, had my information, and all this stuff came right up on it. It's a nice flyer. Again, this is something I would go and I don't print out at home or at my office computer. The paper is just too light of a weight. I'll go get 20 of these run off at a copy store. It's not so much for the people getting the information. It's more so that when I set these flyers out for a open house and my client sees them, they see, and I let them know that I'm giving a better flyer than most people, just not leaving something that was printed out, it's kind of fuzzy and all that, that I'm doing the little extra things as an agent so that when they go to refer me later on down the road after we had a successful closing on their property, they know that when they're referring me that I'm going to do something a little extra for my clients and what other agents don't do. So you can play around with flyers here. It starts here by creating a flyer. I'm not going to go through it all, but it's the same thing. You can fetch the listing, walk through everything, and it'll create customized flyers that you can do some really cool stuff with. They have different looks to them. So if you're in an office that really doesn't generate flyers for you for open houses and you want to do a little more than just printing the listing ticket, and be a step above, you can do that through here through CMA. So just to kind of recap everything real quickly, it all starts with the search. Well, it all starts with when you get the call, you go to BSNA and you find that property to make sure that you are talking to the owners. If there's more than owners or a trust, you want to make sure all those people are there because you can't have a listing agreement only signed by one person if there's multiple people. From BSNA, you get the information to generate your search. You run your search. Quick little tip. Let's say you got out of we got out of Paragon real quickly. It's like, oh crap, I need to go back in. It'll load up really quickly. And remember that search we were looking on and we didn't save it? We're like, oh, dang it. I just did that search for the CMA. I walked away from my computer. I got kicked out of Paragon. What do I have to do? You don't have to recreate the search. Just come up here to where it says select search and go to residential. And right here, see where it says last search? Here are all your last searches right here. This was the last search I was on. Clicked on that. There's my search I was just at a minute ago. So even if you don't save it, you still can recover it somewhat. So we create our search, we run our search, we select the properties we want. I'm just going to randomly select the ones we want. We select checked. They have to be green. And now if you're going to run the quick CMA, it's reports, CMA, CMA summary. If you're going to actually create a cloud CMA, it's actions. Oops, sorry, got to be out of this. We have to be in this in the default spreadsheet, not here. Here's our property selected. We come to actions, which is the plug looking icon there. Cloud CMA, and you begin the process. If you want to visit a CMA after you've run it, after you ran it, and you want to go back to it, in Paragon, let me get out of here. You come up to this tab where it says CMA. You can either go to CloudCMA here, or through resources, CloudCMA. Either way, it takes you to your CMA page. And there's everything we were at. You have your creating a new report. You can do CMAs, buyer tours, properties, flyers, all that other stuff. That's kind of the two ways on, that's everything on CMAs. As I told you at the end, I'm going to go over where you can find our YouTube pages. As Debbie explained, she loads everything up into YouTube, and in this middle blue bar on your home page, if you look across here, we have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, right here where it says YouTube. If you select YouTube, it'll automatically take you to the MiRealSource YouTube page. And make sure when you're searching, you don't search up here for a video, because that'll take you to YouTube search. You want to search down here. And if you typed in like CMAs, it should take you to those. And here's everything on CMAs. On our home page, they're kind of grouped. Here's all the Cloud CMA ones. I think there are, where are the videos? Right here. Here's where Debbie kind of groups them all together so that you can look at them. But this is everything here. Take a look at them. I go through these myself, even though I'm an instructor and I teach certain things. There's always stuff being updated, so I come in here and find out what's going on, so that you know, I can stay on top of the changes that are happening in MiRealSource and with the different tools that we offer. That's our YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe and like. Everyone has to know to do that. Also, if you want to find out where any, if you want to find any of the documents, in this case we had 4 PDFs that Debbie submitted to or put out to everybody as part of the training. You can always come back and find those documents by in this thin blue bar up here where it says MLS documents. We select that, and then under MIRS Education, there's 103 files, and they're all in here. You can go through them and find them. You can either scroll through the long way or just come up here and type in CMA, and it'll bring up the ones on the CMA, and you can pull up all these and take a look at them if you need a little refresher or something like that. That was off of your home page up here under MLS. So that you know, really wraps up everything for CMA. A little bit of how to find this stuff. You know, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me for an hour and a half. Early on in my career, I kind of blew off CMAs. I did them rather quickly. It's like, oh, I got to go do a CMA. Just pulled up some information and walked in there. You know, through the years and through mentoring some good mentors and some very successful realtors, helping me grow my career, there's a huge value placed in doing a CMA. It also helps you to get to know the neighborhood that you're in, and that is oftentimes going to be the first chance to make your impression on this potential client. And you want to lead with your strongest, you know, pitch you can. And CMAs is the best way to go. They have that information out there. If you want to stay relevant as a realtor, you have to make sure that you can demonstrate that your knowledge is better than anything they're going to get from a computer-generated report that they have access to from all kinds of multiple sources. So thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you know, shoot me. You know, you can either ask them now or get a hold of Debbie. She'll answer them. Good luck to you all. I hope everything's going well. The market's getting really, really crazy again. So hopefully it continues to stay strong for you and you can all be successful. With that, good luck to you all. I'm going to end this webinar. Thank you for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Have a great day.